Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. You know that I usually take you thrift shopping with me and show you a few minutes worth of thrift footage before I show you what I actually brought home and how I styled it. Well, this week was a little tough because we had sickness in our house, probably the third week straight, and so I didn't actually get a ton of thrift footage. I'm showing you just a few things, a few snippets that I got while I was out in the thrift shops, but I didn't spend quite as much time out this time, so I don't have as much interesting footage for you. So after I show you these few items that I did get some close-ups on, I'm actually going to go straight into the segment of the video where I show you what I brought home and how I styled it. So moving right into that section of today's video, the first thing I wanted to share with you that I found in the thrift shops was this beautiful indigo blue vase. I was drawn to this immediately because of the shape, and I couldn't believe when I turned it over, first of all, that it was only $3.99, but second of all, that the tag said it was from Pottery Barn, and it was $49.50 currently. It is for sale on the Pottery Barn website right now, and this is the smaller 8-inch size, which runs for that $49.50 price tag. And so I'm not sure how this ended up in the thrift store, but I definitely snatched it up, and as you know, if you've been watching this channel, I've been trying to incorporate a little bit more of these earthy blue and green colors, particularly into my mostly neutral home. And so this was the perfect piece to add, and I'm just styling this here on our coffee table in the front living area with some simple cream colored baby's breath inside of it to keep things just really simple and really pretty and classy looking for spring. This fresh cut flowers candle that I found also at the thrift shops makes the perfect little side note to this vase and table setting. And as you can see from behind this, I also have this other blue pillow that I thrifted a few weeks back, and it makes the perfect echo to the blue vase. I'm trying to not do too much of the exact same blue, but kind of just spread a few pieces around my home that are slightly different shades of blue. And so this kind of dusty denim and this dusty indigo really complement each other nicely, I think. This ended up, I did the math, being about 92% off retail if you compare Pottery Barn's current price to my $3.99 price tag, which I thought was simply great. So the next thrifty thing that went on in our household this week was involving this rather boring utility sink that we have in our laundry area. So months ago, I had refinished the surface of this sink inside and out with that tile refinishing kit that you saw there, which I will link. It was from Amazon. It worked really well because it was kind of yellowed and just not a great looking utility sink when we moved in. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to add a skirt to this, and I've been looking at some of these inspiration photos that you can see here from really all over the place, and I really like the nice hominess and just comfy cottage sort of vibe that adding a skirt to a sink like this can add. And so I'm going to be trying it out with this tablecloth that I found at a yard sale not long ago for only $1. This tablecloth is a really pretty cotton, and it has a subtle kind of sage green pinstripe running through it, which you'll see more closely in a moment. So after I got the measurement around the utility sink and then also figured out the length that I wanted, I'm just using my chalk and my scissors to cut a pretty straight line on that across the floor. I'm doing a simple hem across the very bottom with my sewing machine, and just to add a little bit of movement to it, I'm doing a very simple, what I think is called a knife fold, to make some pleats along it. So I will show you a close-up in just a moment of how I'm folding this, but basically I'm just gathering a little bit every 7 stripes to keep things even and folding it in on itself and just doing a couple tack stitches at the top to keep it in place. You can see that when I'm done, it just looks kind of like this, and that was again just to give it a little bit of movement so it's not just a straight piece of fabric laying down. Now, since this is going to wrap around a utility sink, I'm not going to be able to really use a rod for that, so I'm going to be using these adhesive hook and loop strips that I got from Amazon. This was only around $8 for this pack of 30 feet of this, so I'll still have plenty on hand for another project. But first, you will just use this 3M sticky tape that goes around for the hook side, and then I can put the opposite end of the tape on the skirt itself with the loops, and so it'll make it really easy for me to just come back and stick that in place. I thought that that was a nice and easy way to create a skirt to add more of this sort of charming look to this space. I think that this kind of classes up this little utility sink just a bit, and it definitely gives me a homier vibe in here when I walk in to do laundry. So for $1 plus the cost of the tape, not bad. Another thing that I found at the thrift shops this week was this set of baskets, and you all know that I'm always keeping my eye out for baskets, especially when they come in pairs or sets, because I think that having a stack of matching baskets or a set of them elevates the look and just makes it look more intentional. So the first thing that I want to do with these is just to remove the little cloth liners. I've never been a fan of those, and I kind of like them plain better. This set of 2 cost me only $12.99 at Goodwill, and I thought that was a pretty great deal. You can see sets of matching baskets in many designer photos and sites, and they always look beautiful. And so for me, I have a very utilitarian sort of purpose in mind for these baskets. I'm not sure where these baskets particularly came from, but obviously the prices can get quite high if you're buying them from somewhere like Pottery Barn. Of course, they're going to be a little bit less on different outlets on Amazon or Walmart, but I have no idea how much these were worth. If you have this exact set, you can let me know. But what I'm going to be doing with these is using these in the corner of my living room, specifically for some of the items that I bring home from the thrift shops. Since I'm doing these videos, I'm always bringing home odds and ends, and I need a place to store them before I clean them and style them and film them to show them to you all. And so this is the perfect spot to tuck away these little items that I'm finding until I can use them, rather than them kind of collecting in a pile on the floor by the door, which may or may not have been what was happening. Another thing that I found at the thrift shops was this really cool set of 2 vintage canisters. These caught my eye again because there was a set of 2 of them that were right beside each other. I really like the shape and the brown colors mixed with the gray, the speckles, and especially the fact that they both were intact with their lids, which is sometimes hard to find. The lids might have gotten lost over the years or been cracked. These were in great condition. They were each only $4.99. This one did have a small crack in the very tippy top of the lid, but I wasn't too worried about that at all. So I grabbed these knowing that there's multiple different things I could do with them. They would be great to simply remove the lid and use for flowers. I did try them out in my kitchen up here next to the stove, just thinking about putting something there, and they do look cute there, but I don't think that they look their very best on that counter situation for some reason. So after this, I tried them also in our master bathroom next to some dried florals that I have in the center, and I thought about putting, some bathroom toiletries inside of these, and I think that I like these better here. And also you can just imagine taking the lid off and having those same dried florals inside one of those canisters would also be really beautiful. Now, a small item that I picked up from the thrift shops this week was this little brass bud vase, and I thought that this was so pretty. It was only $1.99, so next to nothing for this, and it definitely reminded me of this one that I have been looking at on the Magnolia site. I did place an order there the other day and get a couple of things, and I was looking at these little bud vases, and I thought to myself, I bet I can find something like this in the thrift store soon. And lo and behold, I did for only $2. This will be the perfect little spot next to the kitchen sink to place small flowers. Soon we should be having some things blooming in our yard, and my little girl always likes to pick a couple and bring me little odds and ends and daffodils and dandelions, and this will be the perfect place to display those. Another neat thing that I found at the thrift shops this week was this little stone candle holder. It looks like it's made so that it can hold either a tea light or you can put a tapered candle down into it also. I have no idea, again, where this is from. I couldn't really find it by searching it by an image search to figure out exactly where it came from, so let me know if you know. But for only $1.99, again, I thought that this was a great deal, and it definitely immediately reminded me of these from Olive Atelier that I've seen, these stone candles, and these are a lot more expensive at around $145 for these stone candles. I do think that they have a really beautiful rustic look, but personally I would not splurge on them for that price, so I think that I can just recreate a really similar look to that with this simple thrifted one that I found. I had this tapered candle that was already broken in half, and so I just melted down some of the wax with that by using a small metal bowl inside of a pot with some boiling water. I just removed the wick from that candle to reuse it once it was loose enough where I could just wiggle it out while the rest of the wax was melting. And then once that's all melted down, I'm just pouring it in and filling up the cavity in this little candle. And one tip that I have for you is that wax will contract or shrink when it cools, so fill all the way to the tippy top of whatever vessel you're going to be using because it will shrink back down when it dries. I think this has such a pretty look once it's done, so similar to the Olive Atelier look for only a couple of dollars plus a broken candle that I already owned. And for those of you who have stuck around to the end, I want to share with you a new idea that I have for this channel, which is going to be called subscriber scores. I've been meaning to introduce this idea for a while because you guys often have such great comments for me where you're sharing with me different things that you have found and deals that you have found at the thrift stores. And I thought, why not spotlight those every once in a while in my videos? So if you simply email me pictures of your scores that you have thrifted or estate saled or yard saled or whatever, send me a picture of that. Let me know what you paid for it and what your name is, where you're from, that sort of thing. I will introduce some of these spotlight moments in my future videos. If you have something you want to share with me, just share it at subscriberscores@gmail.com and you might see yours featured in an upcoming video. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and leave me a comment letting me know what you thought. Also, I hope that everyone listening has a fantastic week, and I'll see you at the next video.